Alright, you ready?
Yeah.
Alright, welcome back to the Boozy Cinnamon Roll. My name is Judson. This is Paul.
Hello.
We had so much fun on our Moravian Star Part 2 video that Paul came back to help me with, and some more day drinking and crafting.
Happy to be here.
This month we're doing 25 days of holiday crafts to kind of spread the Christmas cheer. Today's drink is Paul's version of a tequila sunrise. It is heavy on the tequila, and instead of grenadine, do you hit it with a splash of cranberry juice?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's more festive that way. So
Cheers.
cheers.
Ugh.
It's heavy on the tequila.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. So today, our craft, we are focusing on the sort of last year and this year too, the viral velvet ornaments. And I've seen several different ways of doing it, where you get the velvet effect without having to actually spend money. And I believe this is going to be a two-part video as well. But so today, I've seen, so the different ways that I've seen it done are where you paint it, and then you, when the paint is still wet, hit it with a coat of, I've seen cocoa powder, I've seen baking powder, I've seen flour, I've seen embossing powder. So I'm going to try all of those, and then I have some red powdered tempera paint that I'm going to try as well and see which of those comes out the best. And then I think the part 2 video, I'm going to actually look into if part 2 manifests, how hard is it to actually cover balls with velvet, and how well does that work as an option? So this is a messy one, so we're going to go back and make a mess in Matthew's kitchen. We'll see you in the kitchen. We're back in the kitchen again, and we're going to do the velveting part of this process. So again, I've got an assortment here of the brown ones and the red ones. We're going to start off with the brown ones. And basically, I've given them each a couple of coats of the brown paint so far. I'm going to hit them with a final coat before we apply the different dusting mediums. And hopefully, what we'll end up with is which one of the many options I've seen is the best one. And for the brown, I'm going to try the cocoa powder, and then I'm also going to try the baking powder. So that's one, and I'm just using the pouncer and more of that brown paint to give it a good coat, good final coat. What do you think, Paul? Which of these is going to give it a better velvety effect? The cocoa powder or the baking powder?
Ooh, I think the baking powder. Well, I think the cocoa powder would do better, but that's because of the cocoa powder has a different consistency of powder versus a baking soda.
Okay.
I'm excited for both.
Okay. All right. Set that aside. Basically just gonna hold it here. See, and again, this is for every time I've watched a video where people are trying to do this in front of the camera, and I've thought, you know, there has to be a better way of doing it. Yeah, here I am doing it, and I feel like I'm running into the same issues. But basically, I'm just dusting cocoa powder over the brown paint, and it's going to stick because the paint is wet. It smells good anyway, right?
Oh yeah, it smells like truffles in here.
All right, so that's one, and then just gonna, well, let's, after I've already got it on the, stick it back in there and let it dry. And try not to make an enormous mess. And then we'll do the second one with the cocoa powder, and then I'll do the last one with baking powder.
If only it was this easy to make truffles.
Well, this part of the truffles would be easy if someone has already tempered the chocolate, rolled the chocolate, done all of that stuff. Then this part would be easy. But and if you could, well, I guess you could stick a truffle on a skewer and do it that way. All right.
Sacrilege.
All right, and so then the last one, I'm gonna hit with the baking soda, which is just absolutely just pouring through. Now I do think that the baking soda is gonna come out lighter. I mean, after it dries and we brush it off, it's gonna have a lighter effect than the cocoa powder, because the cocoa powder is brown to begin with. But we will see how that comes out. So those are my 3 brown ones. We're gonna set those well, a little bit, set them aside, and move on to the red ones. The first red one I'm gonna do the cocoa powder, or I'm gonna do the baking powder, because I already got that out again. But these, instead of giving them another coat of paint, we're gonna hit them with some Mod Podge. I'm gonna hit it with some Mod Podge because I've got different finishes on these than on the brown. The brown were all the same color to begin with, but I have different finishes on these, and so I don't want to hit the ones that are already red with red paint. I think that will skew the results. So we'll go ahead and start with this one. And where's my little pencil? And then just kind of hit it with some Mod Podge over the existing red paint. And I lied. I said I was going to do let's set this here. This is the one I want to do with the embossing powder. So let's do this one. Well, no, it'll be all right. I'll do that one with the embossing powder. So, just going to take the... it all went through the sifter again. Take the baking soda and just hit this one with the fine coating of the baking soda, just like the other. It's snowing. Okay, and then kind of tap it off. There we go. Put this back in there.
They'll tell you to use it.
Okay, and then once it dries, we'll brush that off and see how that turns out. So this is the one that I am excited about or hopeful about. It's the embossing powder. Now, I did see a video that said that embossing powder was the way to go. Embossing powder is certainly not a cheap way to go. It's going to be one of the more costly ways of doing it, since if you don't have embossing powder in your stash, like I do from when Kathleen was doing stamps. So I've got the embossing powder, and it doesn't look like we've used very much, so I'm going to just...
That is red.
It is. Gently tap it out over this one. Bum, bum, bum.
You should definitely tap that one on the side because you don't want it to.
There we go. So got that one.
I like that one.
Yeah. And when it dries, basically when they all dry, you go in with a soft brush and kind of gingerly brush off the excess. All right, so we've got that one, and then I'm going to do this one. This is a glass one.
You're not going to pre-paint it?
No, because it's already red. So I'm just going to hit it with the glue.
Mod Podge.
Mod Podge. You can use glue, and certainly people that have been watching know that I have that giant tub of glue that I bought in 2016, that I have been slowly, agonizingly working my way through, that is still over half full. All right, and then we just hit this with the embossing powder. Bum, bum, bum. Okay, and with any of them, but certainly with the cocoa and the embossing powder and this last one that I'm going to do, you will want to seal it. I'm going to hit it with some aerosol hairspray, but any kind of spray sealer to kind of keep the powdery stuff from that has a color to it from just getting everywhere and discoloring everything.
You can always reuse the sprinkles that you didn't use for
Right.
other things.
Right. Unless you've got the cocoa mixed in with the...
Yeah.
All right.
Bonus.
So for the last one, I have this powdered tempera paint in red. And I will tell you, I'm going to tell you straight off, anytime I have used this paint for anything, it looks like a crime scene. Even if we're just using it in the powdered form. Whoa! Okay, see, I told you it was a glass one. Maybe we won't be testing it on this one. All right, take two. So, just a solid red one here, and I'm going to hit it with a thin coat of the Mod Podge or glue. Getting it on my fingers.
That's all right.
That's all right. Because I do know how to wash my hands.
It'll just look like you've committed the murder.
Oh, that's true. All right. So definitely when you're done with this, you'll want to seal it. All right. So here we go. Cross your fingers. I have high hopes for this. So it looks kind of like the, wonder if I think I should, since it's coming out in clumps, put it through the sifter. This is a craft sifter, BT Dubs. It's not it is in the kitchen, but it's not a kitchen. It's not going to, get used on food. It comes from the craft room. Yeah, I think with the sifter is better.
Yeah, I like that even coat better. But I see what you mean by crime scene.
Well, wait until you try and clean it.
Oh no.
Okay, set this there. I'm gonna hit it with some more, but I'm afraid I'm gonna be really disappointed. My first reaction is that it's not really giving a velvet texture. It's almost too smooth compared to like this one that has the embossing powder, which, to be fair, I think the embossing powder has more of a
texture,
more of a sandy texture than this.
It might change.
It might change. All right, so the next step is we just wait for them to dry.
All right.
Okay. All right, so now that they've had a chance to dry, I'm just taking a soft brush and kind of gently brushing the bake. Well, this is the baking powder, but whatever the flocking substance was. So this one is kind of given like a faded velvet because of the white. Right. This one, this was the baking powder over the brown. I kind of like that.
Yeah.
And then don't forget, after, you definitely want to hit these with some kind of spray sealer. I've got aerosol hairspray from the Dollar Tree. So that's that one. All right, this was the tempera paint.
Is it wiping off?
It's not really wiping off. A little bit. But yeah, I'm a little disappointed. I mean,
That was the one that you thought was gonna.
I thought this was going to be like a great option, cheaper than the embossing powder. This is the embossing powder over just the glass without any paint.
I remember you were saying that the other one was too smooth the last time we were doing this.
Yeah, I thought the tempera paint kind of came out too smooth. It doesn't really have, it has a texture to it, but it doesn't have a velvety texture. This has more of a texture to it. I don't know. I think with the glass too, I don't know if you can see this, but I can kind of see the shine from the light in the glass. So maybe this will work better on the one that isn't glass, that was just the plastic from the Dollar Tree. But they did say the embossing powder was the way to go. But I don't know that. I mean, I like how they look. I like how they all look. But I don't know that those are necessarily giving, velvet. This one, no. So let's try these with the cocoa powder.
We can always reuse the cocoa afterwards.
Not reusing the cocoa powder. Once, maybe that one hasn't dried enough. It smells good though. Okay, kind of brush it off. I don't know. What do you think is the best one? The baking powder on the brown, the embossing powder, the baking powder. Ooh, now I'm getting brown on the red one. This is the other baking powder one.
I do like the embossing powder on the small ones. I think it looks good, but I like the effect that the white on the red has. It feels more Christmassy. But I do like the cocoa ones.
So this is the baking powder on the brown.
And that one looks.
Now I'm getting brown on this one. That's what I wanted to do. I'm trying to get the red off, or the brown off the top there. Now this is the red one with the baking powder. and the brown. Yeah, I think, I don't know, I do kind of like this. I mean, I don't dislike any of them,
For the
but I think probably go with the baking powder or go with the cocoa if you're going to do the brown. Yeah, that's probably my suggestion.
but it was fun.
It was fun.
Happy to have done it.
All right. This is YouTube, so of course do all the things. Like it, follow me, subscribe, leave a comment, all of those things. I appreciate you being here. Thank you, Paul, for helping me out with the filming today. And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.